Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 9. Isaac, are we calling this episode 9? I feel like these are definitely two separate things here,
Eight
right?
and a half. Eight
Eight
and
and
a
a
half.
half. Okay, we're calling it episode 8.5. I'm Carter Thweet, joined as always by my co-host Isaac Hardy and
Yo,
a
yo,
special
yo.
guest that I did not know we were going to have, but I'm very excited to have. It's Austin Davis. Austin, how you doing?
Happy to be here. Nothing I would want to do more than, this instead of studying my cardio poem.
Absolutely, absolutely. We're thrilled to have you. This is a recent development. So Isaac, how did this come to be? This was like in the last 30 minutes, right?
Yeah, probably more like the last five. So I actually just got home from playing basketball, and you'd mentioned how I had on these slides that we're gonna have a special guest, and I kind of dropped the ball and hadn't reached out to anyone. So I thought, who's probably up right now at? I'm in Mountain Time, so I was like, all right, who's up at like 10:30 Central Time right now? I was like, I bet Austin's up right now. So I gave him a ring. I asked if he wanted to hop on the Zoom literally right now, and he was like, sure. And here we are.
Here we are. So that is why we do not have a Austin interview slide like we had with Drake. This is a recent development, but just pretend bump these two agenda items down, and then at number one slot in Austin interview because here it is. Isaac, you were the one who decided that we should have Austin on. I mean, what are you wanting to ask this guy?
Well, I'm just curious. I just remember, especially just with Belichuzz, we can get more into personal life here in a second. But I just remember right after the draft, we were dogging on the 67ers, right? They're in the chop zone. He's looking like it's over for him, and bang! Look at him now. 2 weeks in, he's living free. Are you in the safe zone, Austin? Is that right? This week too?
Yeah, from the looks of it, I think I'm actually sitting third right now. I was fourth earlier
Yeah.
today,
So
but yeah.
that's what would just that kind of turnaround. What do you attribute it to? If you had to quantify it in one word, what would you say?
Luck. I'm not gonna
Okay.
lie. Just half my team got drafted while I was sitting in a Slims, not looking at it, and the other half I was driving, I think. So yeah, it's only by the grace of God that I'm in the safe zone this
Mm.
week.
Yeah, Austin, and I'm curious here because I know you're a busy guy. So how do you balance being a successful fantasy manager with your schooling and relationships? How do you juggle all of that and how do you commit all the time?
Well, I mean, there's no way you can juggle it all at once, you know. So sometimes, you gotta set aside the more trivial things like PT school and focus on the things that matter, like the Belichuzz chopped league. And I think that's, once I saw the team I was working with, I had to, take a hit on a couple test grades to make sure that I stayed in the safe zone.
Mm.
Yeah,
Mm.
and
That's real.
obviously, I think 2K is also high up on the
Of course.
priorities list
Yeah,
here.
of course.
Yeah.
I do just want
I'm
to ask real quick. I mean, I know we asked Drake a lot of questions about what his personal life and things. Is there anything that you think the majority of league members don't know that's been exciting for you, a recent development, anything that comes to mind? I know I'm putting you on the spot there.
I mean, I don't know how many people are invested in me and Devin's relationship, but she lives close now. She's going to UCA, and so it's been exciting to have her here. And we've been watching, college football every weekend, and we're looking at maybe going ring shopping soon, so that's exciting.
Whoa,
awesome.
Mousetrap exclusive. We got the scoop. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, nothing better than whenever the distance is gone. That's so real.
That is
Happy
so
for you.
real. I just that's one of the best things that always happens. Isaac, anything else to ask this guy before we get to the football?
Um. Oh, this is more of a Belichick's related question. I'm just curious about your trade with Drake or with Grant, the Cam Ward trade. Just kind of walk me through kind of how that developed and how you're feeling 6 hours, 8 hours after it goes through.
Yeah, so Grant approached me a few weeks ago about possibly trading Cam Ward, and at first I was like, oh, I don't know, like this guy, is going to be a star and kind of the franchise guy for the Titans going forward. And although my mind hasn't really changed on that, I still think he's going to be a really solid quarterback. His fantasy scoring has just not shown that. And,
Mm,
most of that is because the Titans receivers cannot catch the ball for some reason,
right.
which of course is no fault of his own. But for, somebody who's trying to do well in fantasy and stay competitive, I figured I get Bryce Young here, a roughly equal quarterback in terms of fantasy scoring right now. and I get some picks, which I might have been able to get more, but I'm happy with what I got.
Yeah. One thing interesting, I don't think Cam Ward has much of a rushing upside. And you wonder, he may be a good quarterback, but with that Titans O line, that whole Titan system, no hate, it's like he might be a fantasy viable quarterback in 2028, 2029. That's a ways down the road. So I thought it was a pretty fair trade. I thought it was fine.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think
and it
as it
did
is right now,
numbers.
I think. Oh, I apologize.
I was
But
just
I
gonna
was
say
just
it
gonna.
did numbers for the Grant Moore is a reasonable trade partner, you know, story.
He's a fair-minded guy, you know. We love Grant on this podcast. Hope to have him as a guest someday. But
Mm,
yeah, I thought it was a pretty good deal for you. I mean, you get a first, and Bryce Young's been putting up better numbers this year. There's a chance that Cam Ward becomes elite, and you regret it down the line. But I mean, I think it can only help you this year. I don't think Cam Ward's going to be putting up crazy numbers on this team.
yeah.
And you get a first-round pick, so I'm not a hater of it at all.
All right, let's dive into Cuz.
Who got chopped? This is the sad part of our show. In memoriam. I'm told this is Scott Davidson. Isaac put this picture in. Really could be anybody. But I assume
This
this is
is
Scott
this
Davidson.
is Scott. This
This
is
is
Scott.
Scott. And you can kind of see the resemblance there. Any words that come to mind for you all? I know I have a little tribute coming up, but any words that come to mind for you all when you think about Scott Davidson being eliminated?
Heartbreaking is probably what comes to my mind first. Um, Devastating, soul crushing.
I just, it's not funny. Just the quiet contemplation in between every word. It really hit me. There's a lot of emotion in that. A lot of emotion. Austin, I'm tearing up. Anything that comes to mind for you?
I mean, just I barely got to know him, and just when I thought I was getting a little bit of his character to come out, I might never see him again, and
Mm.
that's a shame.
Yeah.
I,
I
I,
think
I just want to say it's my mission. Since he's the inspiration for my team name, Beaver Nuggets for dinner. Um, I'm just committed to winning it all for Scott. This season's for Scott, man.
I didn't. Does he eat beaver nuggets for dinner?
I don't know. His team name is Beaver Nuggets for lunch.
Wait, I thought his name was Team Hurricane Coming.
No, no, that's his username, I think. I think.
Oh, I see, I see. Okay, well that's an incorrection in my poem in that case. So with that in mind, if we can go ahead and move on to that, I wrote a little tribute for Mr. Scott here that I'd just like to read now because his loss touched me as I know it did you all.
Mm,
Um, oh Scott, a man of great renown, when asked to join the league, you said you were down. I asked my dad, and he said no. So I respect you, sir, for giving it a go. But this week was the end of Team Hurricane coming. Sorry. Your team is out, no longer in the running. The squad was stacked. I must say you're unlucky. Josh Allen, Tyler Warren, and the talented Bucky. We'll miss you, sir, your wisdom and passion. Hope you come back next year in a Gandalf-like fashion. And if you're sad now, just remember this call. 'Tis better to have played and lost than never played at all. I just want to say real quick, I've been hearing some slander, even from my own co-hosts. Some believe that these poems, Nixon's poem, were AI. I want to say that is not true. I write these myself. I know I can't prove that, but I just want to say briefly, like, think about it with everything that was in Nixon's, like his name, where he was from, guys on his team, how our league works, and then getting it in this like format. I think it would just take just as long to feed all that to ChatGPT and have it write something good as writing this. So I'm writing these myself. They come from the heart because the losses are sad. This one is particularly sad, and so I wanted to write up a little something in honor of Scott. I hope you both enjoyed that and found it
mm.
as heartfelt
I
as
think
I did.
Scott will. I think he'll really appreciate this.
Yeah. I do want to
So.
read his farewell message real quick as we move on to waivers, just because I think if he were here, he might give a farewell. And he
Mm,
said in the chat, this was sad to read. He said it was fun while it lasted. Chopped fantasy football is a fickle beast, and hope to give this league another run next year. Good luck,
mm.
everyone, and thanks for the invite, Tej. Message got 7 reactions, a lot of gifs in response. What were y'all's thoughts when you read that?
That's a man's response. That ain't no boy dropping comments in the chat. That is a grown man.
Yeah, I remember when TJ asked us to throw the league to keep him in, and I considered it for a second, but after reading that, I just know that that's not what he would have wanted. He's a
Mm,
competitor right to the bitter end, and
mm,
I read that with teary eyes as I was headed to school.
mm.
As he was driving to school, he looked down, he read it with teary eyes. So the bittersweet part of this is that we get all of Scott's players. He moves up. Again, me moving our faces never works, so I apologize if anything's covered up here. Um, but Scott moves up to the top left corner with Will Nixon. And his players go on waivers. And there were some bidding wars. Our highest bid in league history, narrowly beating Jonathan Taylor by Chitty. So I guess we start with Josh Allen here.
I mean, I knew he'd be valuable. 521 is remarkable. But honestly, respect to Tucker, like considering he's doing that blind and only, beating out second place by 21 bucks. Like if that's the guy he wants, I think that's, he didn't overpay. It's not like he was at 521 and everyone else was sub 300. So steep price, but it is Josh Allen.
Yeah. One good point you made, Isaac, was about buys. With this being like a 9 week league, I mean, some guys will have buys and some guys won't. And
Mm-hmm.
losing Josh Allen for a week is huge. So he has a week 7 buy. I don't love that. I would
Mm-hmm.
call this a slight overpay in my opinion, just because I think like Josh Allen's going to have down weeks. I mean, we saw that this week, and then sometimes he might have 10 more than the next quarterback. He might have 5 more. It's just a ton of money. Obviously, he did bid well based on what other people bid, but I'm not crazy about this one. Although I do think Tucker had one great bid this week. We'll get to that later, but I wasn't crazy about this one.
Yeah, the other thing just with that is the Bills play the Dolphins and then the Saints and then the Patriots, which you may think, oh, well, he's going to light them up. But realistically, they're going to be up by 15 at halftime and they're just going to run the football. So just like he didn't put up a bunch of points this past week against the Jets because they're up so much. I could be worried about a couple of Josh Allen stinkers against these duds.
It's a good point. Yeah, it is crazy that he put up 38 against the Ravens and then 11 against the Jets. It's the
Yeah.
opposite of what you'd expect. Fantasy football is a fickle beast, as a wise man once told me. So you truly never know.
Austin, I want to hear your take on Bucky Irving, how you landed on 251 and, beat me out by a little bit, but not by a lot. Are you happy with that? You think that's gonna kind of revolutionize your franchise?
Yeah, so I know I bet on several guys this week, and I was trying to take into account kind of weigh who I wanted the most, and obviously, Josh Allen there didn't quite make the cut. Um, but I knew Bucky was going to be a solid pickup, and I'm kind of slim on running backs, and so uh, I really thought 250 was kind of a reasonable price, and just kind of went one up from there. I also knew
Mm-hmm.
if I got Josh Allen, I was going to be over half of my fab spent, and so I was kind of
Mm-hmm.
concerned about dropping too much there, and I think that's why I kind of pulled back on Egbuka up there at the top as well as I was afraid of getting two or three of these players. So
Yeah, certainly. One thing that I just think is interesting is, um, part of, partly you don't want to overspend, but also like Scott went down with 900 waiver bucks.
mm,
Nixon went down. Obviously, he was the first one, but it's like I'd rather lose with zero and just have missed or have overpaid than to lose with money in the bank, thinking, man, I could have brought in a difference maker. So it's kind of an interesting philosophy. I really like my Tyler Warren pickup. Obviously, maybe an overpay there, almost eight or over 80 bucks more than second place, but I just think he's a beast in that Colt system. He's getting a ton of targets, a ton of usage. I'm just put him as a flex guy. I think he's really solid there.
Yeah,
Carter,
Austin,
talk to me about Ibuka.
well, real quick, I just want to say I love the Bucky pickup for Austin. The team is stacked at receiver, Justin Jefferson, Puka. He has Trey McBride at tight end. But running back was a little bit of weakness. It was Dobbins, and then like you can put in DeAndre Swift, but I don't think you're like in love with that. So I think a fourth of your budget is awesome. Bucky gets a lot of carries, receiving monster, 6 catches last week, a touchdown, receiving touchdown in week 1. I think for a fourth of your budget, like I think your team's stacked now. You're third in the chop rankings, whatever, for a reason. So Bucky pickup, I really really like for you at $251 there.
yeah, that's one I definitely feel good about, and I think The only thing now is a backup quarterback because I think I'm sitting with CJ Stroud there on my super
Mm,
flex, and that's less than exciting.
right. Carter, what are
Um,
your thoughts on Ibuka? 150 for Ibuka?
you're asking me?
Yeah.
I think that's a fair price. I think with Chitty, he's been kind of questionable all year. I think had him as your chop prediction last week. I had Tucker, so none of us came through. But we've been a little worried. He's got Jamar, who did good with Jake Browning last week. Is that going to continue? Brees Hall looked bad last week. Maybe he'll pick it back up. But Egbuka has been a difference maker so far. For less than a fifth of the budget, I really, really like it. I don't know if he's going to keep up his pace. He kind of came back down to earth last week with 12. But I don't know. I think it's a good kind of a move that could really boom, and I don't think it's going to bust. Like I think Ibuka will be solid, and maybe he'll have some weeks where he goes off like in week one. I like the 150 price, and I think the bids
Yeah.
reflect that three over 100. Everyone was kind of on the
Yeah.
same page here.
One thing that worries me with like Ibuka, those Godwin's coming back, and if Ibuka falls to like wide receiver three, this could get a little hairy. But yeah, I mean, I think certainly has that boom potential. He's got the physical talent, so I don't hate it for 150. Um,
Yeah.
let's move on to our next ones here.
Yeah, this is the one thing I'm going to say with Tyler Warren real quick. I mean, I don't think 205 is crazy because I bid 124, like that's not crazy, much lower. But I just want to say, I know I'm skipping over some bigger stuff here. Bid of the week for Tucker Cromwell on Tucker Craft, in my opinion. This is
Mm,
an astonishingly low price.
yeah.
Let me do some math here, actually. He got Tucker Craft for 1.4% of the price of Tyler Warren. And
Mm,
look, I think Tyler Warren better future. He may be better the rest of this year, but Tucker Craft has outscored Tyler Warren so far this year. And Tucker
mm,
got him for 1% of what you paid for Tyler Warren. And I don't even think your Tyler Warren was an overpay. So Tucker
yeah.
doing this, this is a good tight end option. And I'm just astonished that it was $3. And there was another bid, and Tucker still got him with $3. I can't believe it.
Yeah. Well, Tucker also sniped Drake London for 50 and was the only bidder. Could have grabbed him for three as well. And Drake London's had a kind of a slow start to the season, so I get maybe some skepticism there, but I think it's really paying off. He's digging into the basically, who's getting dropped, and he's saying, I'll throw a dollar or two just in case no one makes a bid here. And clearly that paid off with Kraft and could have paid off with Drake London as well.
Yeah, I think Drake London, this week two game against Minnesota was a weird game. Neither offense could do anything. It was all Bijan.
Yeah.
Like he's still Drake London. He had 15 targets in week one. He could be a good flex wide receiver too if he can get back to, kind of what we expect him to be. So, yeah, I think maybe Tucker a little overbid on Josh Allen, but just, looking at the waivers, he might be the waiver MVP this week. I don't know if
Mm,
there's really another candidate just kind of looking at it here.
yeah. Austin, what do you
Uh,
think about that Javante Williams bid there by CT63? Talk to me about that.
I was interested in Javante and then kind of put all my chips on Bucky, and I'm glad I got him. I think Carter still would have beat me out if I would have bid there, but I do think the 1 to 146 jump is insane. I mean, obviously you never know how much is going to get bet, but yeah, that's a little crazy.
Yeah,
I
that
think
one's
that
got to
is
stay.
146 times the amount that Tucker Cromwell spent there. Just a little math there for you. So,
Yeah, it's
Yeah, about what is
146.
that?
It's 146
0.87%.
times. It's 146 times what he spent on Quinshawn Judkins. So I have to hope that Javante is 146 times as good as Judkins. But I'll say, like, I am very happy to have Javante on the team. Obviously, I wish I'd bid lower looking at this. Um, but he's been really good. 15 carries, 18 carries, six catches last week, a touchdown or two in both weeks. I also really like that he has Chicago next. That is an offense that was just absolutely destroyed by Detroit last week. So I like having Javante. I'm very excited to have him in my flex spot. Obviously, I wish I'd bid lower. I think, 80 or less would have been fair. Obviously, I could have got him for $2. So wish I'd bid lower, but I'm happy to have him on the team. I'm hoping for a big game from him against Chicago because I really need it.
Yeah, I think he's a little touchdown dependent, but he has been really good for Dallas to start the season. So I mean, I think that's a good value price. It just happened to be that you were the only person who bid on him at that value. So
Yeah. And then I got Tony Pollard for $18, also the
got a
only
new team
bid.
name for $18.
That's true. Yeah, I was really desperate to come up with a team name here. Austin, you're a Titans fan. $18 for Tony Pollard?
I mean, I know the Titans have not had a really good other running back, so I mean, you're getting a running back one for 18 bucks, which I mean, I'm not going to be disappointed at ever, I guess, but he's not been super inspirational the past 2 weeks that I've watched. Hopefully he starts getting some check down catches from Cam Ward if he decides to stop slinging the rock, but we'll
Hmm.
see.
Yeah, he's a guy you can put in and he'll get some points. But yeah, he has one catch through 2 weeks, so I would hope that would go up. I'm not starting him this week, but maybe if I got desperate, put him in, hope he scores a touchdown. 18 honestly might have been a little high, but he may play for me at some point. We'll see.
Hmm. I'll just bounce over to those, three quarterback acquisitions. None of them I think is crazy. The most notable one is I think for me, Joe Burrow, who I dropped a bag on last week, being out for the season is just a devastating hit to my waiver bucks. But bringing in just a backup quarterback again, thinking about those bye weeks, I just kind of noticed that eventually I got two good quarterbacks on my team, but eventually one of them is going to be out, and so just picking up a bye guy, Kyler Murray for no dollars, I thought was a really good acquisition.
Yeah, what time was that at? As I'm looking at this at 11 o'clock, it says 15 hours, and then I know you're even earlier. I mean, was this an early morning Kyler Murray snipe here?
Yeah, so of course, you and I were up early to film our pod at 6 a.m. my time or 6:20 my time, and so I got up at 6, and first thing I did was check the waivers. I was like, oh, Kyler Murray's there for free. Let me just grab that dog. So picked him up.
Yeah, Austin, you're a little interesting at QB too. I mean, Daniel Jones has been phenomenal. Not sure if he's going to keep that up. And then Cam Ward, fantasy numbers haven't been incredible. Like, would you have considered any of these guys? Are you rocking with Daniel Jones? Obviously, your number one is Justin Herbert, who's been great.
Yeah, I kind of thought about Dak Prescott a little bit. I'm kind of hoping Daniel Jones can do just enough to keep me alive until maybe another decent quarterback gets dropped. I imagine Cam Ward is not going to stay on the team for terribly long unless he just decides to really pick up the numbers. But yeah, I'd say that's definitely the most glaring hole in my roster, and I'm hoping, Daniel Jones just keeps it alive while we can.
Yeah,
Mm,
I'm definitely interested to see what Dak does for Grant. His other two quarterbacks are Caleb Williams and Trevor Lawrence, so I'd have to think Dak's going to start over one of them. Grant's barely in the danger zone, so he needs guys to play well. And Dak plays Chicago. Jared Goff just went off for me in one of my leagues against Chicago, so that could be a pivotal pickup. As far as Chitty's team, looking at Russell Wilson here, he has Mahomes and JJ McCarthy, so Russell Wilson will likely be playing unless there's some super flex option here. Playing Kansas City, 36-year-old Russell Wilson. I don't love it, but
mm,
hopefully he can keep Chitty afloat. I don't know.
yeah. All right, so let's bounce on to our predictions here. And before we reveal ours, Austin, I'm just curious. Maybe you've got your phone there. You can pull up the app, take a look at these teams. If you had to make a prediction, who would you bet is getting chopped this week?
Yeah, so what I'm looking at here, I know Carter's currently in the chop zone, but that's low-hanging fruit. I do think it's interesting that out of everyone, Chitty has perhaps the lowest amount of fab left over, so he spent the most, but he's still like dangerously close to the chop zone. And he's just got some guys on this team, Russell Wilson, Patrick Mahomes, maybe a Tyreek Hill who have been good, but it's certainly a possibility that they just put up dud numbers. And so I think
Hmm.
I'm going to go with Chitty for this week's prediction.
Okay.
I don't love
Ready to talk this?
Yeah, it's not
Go
my
ahead, Norris.
prediction, as you can see. I picked myself, but I also don't love Jamar against Minnesota. Like Minnesota's defense is tough. Penix was really struggling last week. It's Jake Browning now. So don't love that. I kind of think it's going to be a me and Shitty battle. But unfortunately, I think it's going to be me. I didn't get Josh Allen, who I kind of wanted. I didn't get Tyler Warren, who I kind of wanted. I just don't think I have the horses. Jaden Daniels, it is looking a very highly likelihood that he may not play or may be hampered. AJ Brown hasn't really done anything. I don't see a whole lot when I look at my team that I really like in comparison to the rest of the league. I don't think I've been enough. I think it'll be embarrassing for Chitty if I beat him because, like you said, he has put a lot of waiver dollars into his team. But I should have got eliminated last week. It took a really unlucky performance from Scott Davidson for me to stay afloat. I'm projected to get eliminated right now with 142 points, and I don't even think I'll hit 142. So, unfortunately, I think my time may have come.
Yeah, I said the same. I guess it is low hanging fruit, but that Jaden Daniels injury, I just think is super interesting because if he goes down, you're looking at CJ Stroud, who's had a really rough start, and Geno Smith, who also had a really tough week. Um, and AJ Brown, Kamara, Njoku, McLaurin, a lot of guys who just aren't quite performing the way people expected, and I could just see a number of single digit performances out of these guys, and Carter getting bumped if at an 85 total point output. So.
Derrick Henry, if you can hear me, please save me, Derrick Henry. Please, Derrick Henry, if you can
My
hear me.
glorious King, Derrick
He owes
Henry.
me one because last week was bad, and I don't really know what happened. If that happens again, I'm 100% cooked. So we'll see.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's
That's the
what we got
mousetrap.
here.
Austin, I mean, we hope to have you on again someday. Is there anything you want to say to the people right now while you're here?
Uh, Not a whole lot. I appreciate the late night call, and I will say I shout out Tej. I know it's been said before, but this chopped league has been one of my favorite things in the last couple weeks, and so I was skeptical at first, but I think this is a lot of fun, and I've enjoyed it
Mm.
a ton.
Yeah, it's been really good. I'll ask our viewers maybe just drop in the comment section who you think is going to get chopped. Did Tucker overpay for Josh Allen? Did Carter overpay for Devontae Williams? Or maybe any other questions or topics you'd maybe like us to cover in our next Chop Buzz podcast.
Yeah, when you start doing a mousetrap mailbag, answering viewer
Mhm.
questions, that'd be a lot of
Mhm.
fun.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much for watching episode 8.5, and we will see you all next week.